Hello everyone. Today we will go over a small introduction to the psychology of sleep. During this presentation, you will be able to understand the different functions of sleep and why your body needs sleep, some of the basic outlines of different sleep cycles, an intro into the circadian rhythm and the stages of sleep. We'll briefly discuss sleep, consciousness, and dreaming, as well as how much you need to be sleeping, various sleeping disorders, and sleep deprivation as a whole. Firstly, we will discuss the functions of sleep. The main functions of sleep is, firstly, the restoration of body tissues, facilitation of body growth, increased immunity to disease, increase in mental alertness, enhancement of mood, increased cognition, learning, and memory. Ultimately, sleep plays a huge function in every part of our daily lives. How our brain works, how our body works, how our hormones work, our immune system, our metabolism, and our productivity are all linked to sleep. As we sleep, our body also allows us to process memory and store things that we've learned throughout the day, whether that be in classes or basic memory throughout the day. So now that we better understand the importance of sleep, we can look at the two basic outlines of sleep cycles. So the first one is the two-process model. It was made by a scientist named Borbély. It basically separates sleep into two different processes. Sleep pressure, which increases during waking and decreases during sleeping, and then the C process, which is a period of 24 hours with an upper and lower component, both approximately in phase with core temperature. And then the three-component model is has those same exact two processes, so the S process and the C process, but it also includes sleep inertia, which is the time after you wake up where you're still not quite alert and those benefits that you get from sleep aren't noticeable yet. So the importance of these two models is that they can showcase the differences between altered sleep patterns compared to standard sleep patterns, which is often how sleep issues and medical issues can be diagnosed by reviewing these two processes. So now that we kind of understand the processes of sleep, we can look at circadian rhythm and stages of sleep. So circadian rhythm is basically our internal processes and biological clock that are controlled by temperature, alertness, hormone production, and other biological processes. Our circadian rhythm is mostly controlled by the CSN, which is found in the hypothalamus of our brain. It essentially tells our body when to wake up and when to go to sleep. Our circadian rhythm is also greatly affected by light. Changes in light increase or decrease the production of melatonin within our body, which is the sleepy hormone. And when the sun begins to set, that melatonin is released into your body, causing you to become tired. Now, once you get to sleep patterns, there are two different types of sleep patterns. This includes non-REM sleep and REM sleep. Non-REM sleep is broken down into 4 stages. So stage 1 is light sleep. It lasts about 1 to 7 minutes, and it's the part of your sleep where you can easily be woken back up. REM 2 sleep, non-REM stage 2 sleep, is characterized by slower theta waves. Our breathing, muscle tension, heart rate, and body temperature continue to decrease during stage 2. Once we move to stage 3, we are now considered to be in slow wave sleep, which is characterized by delta wave patterns. Lastly, stage 4 is considered deep sleep. This is when our body is completely relaxed, our heart rate, respiration, body temperature, and blood flow to the brain is reduced. This is also the stage of sleep where growth hormone is secreted, and during this stage of sleep, it is very hard to wake someone up. Finally, once we get to REM sleep, your breathing rate starts to increase and your heart begins to beat unregularly. Some studies show that this is when you begin to process your memories, but there's very little actually known about REM sleep. However, we do know that this is the stage of sleep that you begin to dream in. So now that we understand that dreaming happens during the REM cycle of sleep, we can begin to look at some theories of dreams. Scientists to this day are still unsure of exactly why we dream. However, there are some theories and hypotheses that tackle the problem. One theory is the continuity hypothesis. This suggests that dreaming is a way of coping with daily problems or issues. In the same way, Freud's memory theory suggests that dreams help us to consolidate memories and different information that we've received throughout the day, and it allows us to get rid of details that are irrelevant. The TST theory is an evolutionary theory called the threat simulation theory. This idea is that we need dreams as a mechanism to rehearse potential threats. Next is the activation synthesis theory. This is a suggestion that dreams do not symbolize anything or are not a reaction to anything happening in our real life. However, they are just simply random neurons firing while we're in REM sleep. So now that we understand some of the functions of sleep, why we sleep, how our brain works while we sleep, we can answer the question, how much should we sleep? So there are three main factors that affect how much you should or do sleep. One of the factors is age. Babies require about 12 to 15 hours of sleep a day, while adults are more likely to only get about 7 hours of sleep. However, adults are generally recommended to get at least 8 hours of sleep per night. Another factor that affects how much we sleep is lifestyle and environment. For example, if you're raised in a family where you are woken up early, then those habits often follow with you while you go to college and begin your work life. On the other hand, if you live in a family where you don't have to wake up early, you get to sleep in, then those habits often continue as you get older. Next, genetics also plays a factor in sleeping. Genes can correlate to people being predisposed to things like being a night owl or an early riser. So although the general recommendation for adults is to get 8 hours of sleep, there are many factors that can also affect how much a person can sleep biologically. One of these things is sleeping disorders. 50 to 70 million adults in the US experience a sleeping disorder, and 25 to 40% of children and adolescents also suffer from sleeping disorders. One of the most common sleeping disorders that we find is insomnia. Insomnia is essentially people have a hard time falling asleep or staying asleep. A lot of times insomnia stems from stress, grief, changes in schedule, pain, drug use, obesity, anxiety, or depression. Insomnia is typically treated with medication, different forms of therapy, or following sleeping guidelines. Some of the basic sleeping guidelines that will allow you to have a better night's rest is establishing a regular sleep and wake cycle, avoiding long naps during the daytime, and turning off electronics prior to sleeping, especially if you can 2 hours or at least 30 minutes before you fall asleep. Lastly, we will talk about sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation ultimately causes our body to disrupt homeostasis. This leads to cognitive impairment and it lowers the body's ability to fight off disease. It also affects the hypothalamus, which can cause overeating, especially in children, leading to obesity. William Demets once attempted to not sleep for days, but he found that our body undergoes microsleeps. Microsleeps are a way that our body uses to defend us from complete sleep deprivation. Not getting sleep at all can cause a building of sleep pressure that increases the longer deprivation lasts. This is what causes us to feel tired and ready to go to bed at night. Ultimately, in this presentation, we discussed the functions of sleep, two of the outlines of sleep cycles, circadian rhythms and the stages of sleep, sleep, consciousness, and dreaming. We discussed how much you should sleep. We also talked about different sleeping disorders and the issues that occur from sleep deprivation. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for listening.